What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about what we've gotten to see recently with Sanji's new raid suit that we got to see in action, the Stealth Black. Very cool. Can't wait to see what that looks like in the actual anime. But yeah, so the thing is, I was talking with members of my Discord, which, by the way, if you have not joined, you should probably check the link below for the Discord. Get in there. I'll talk more about it at the end of the video. But yeah, I was talking with some members of my Discord about what was going on with this raid suit and everything, and how it has this invisibility. And well, some people were saying that they thought it was way too overpowered, and some people, including myself, were saying that it basically isn't really useful at all against anyone who matters in One Piece, which is something I say about a lot of things. And so the thing with the invisibility fruit is, if there was no observation haki in One Piece, then yes, it would be one of the most overpowered fruits in the entire series. Like, if not the most. Seriously, it really is that overpowered. If you could just be invisible, and there doesn't really seem to be any drawbacks, then what are we even talking about here? That would be so over-the-top ridiculous that, yeah, I mean, it could very well be the most overpowered fruit in the entire series, so that's pretty ridiculous. However, there is observation haki. Of course, not everyone can use it, but like I said, if we're talking about people who actually matter, they're going to have observation haki. So then, that brought up the question, does the invisibility fruit, or even the stealth black suit, nullify observation haki? Does it just get around it? Does it bypass it? And my basic answer was no. Like, there's no reason to believe that. Now, don't get me wrong here. It is a possibility that Oda is making an exception for that, right? If you have the invisibility fruit or the stealth black suit, or one or the other in particular, I don't know which one it would be if it was only one of them. Probably the devil fruit because it's magical, so I would think that would be the one. But he could just do this. It would be very bad writing. It would basically be a plot hole based on what we've seen in the series. I mean, the logic's just not there, right? When Luffy was training his observation haki, he did so by closing his eyes. In other words, cutting off his vision of whatever he's trying to sense, I guess, observe. And then he was able to see it in a sense, right? He wasn't able to see it with his eyes, but with his haki. And so if something just turns invisible, it's still there. Its presence is still there. It's basically like you just closing your eyes. So the invisibility fruit should be basically useless if you have observation haki, and so should the stealth black suit, because the same thing. It's just making you invisible. It's not removing you from the world. Your presence is still there. Your body is still there. So an observation haki user should be able to detect you. Now, could you maybe get some kind of advantage, like, I don't know, just having someone have to use observation haki the whole time might be a strain for them? It's a possibility, I suppose, and it's something that I would actually welcome, because I don't like the idea of the invisibility fruit, or Sanji's suit, going from being possibly the most overpowered thing in the entire series to just worthless. So I would like for that to be a thing. I'm not sure if I'm really buying that, considering that Fujitora has to use observation haki at all times to interact with his environment. He is actually blind, and he's Admiral level, so I don't know if I'm buying it, but I would welcome something along those lines, and it kind of would make sense considering both the invisibility fruit and now this new invisibility is being introduced into the series like right around now. So I would think it has to somehow be viable, but I don't think it's going to be extremely overpowered like we originally thought the invisibility fruit to be. And now some people might say, well, you don't really have to worry about that because Absalom kind of sucked, right? He really didn't pose too much of a threat. He most certainly wasn't stronger than Moria, or really like probably half of the Straw Hat crew, so it's not like it really needs to be that overpowered. And again, that's just, it was ridiculous. Like, that was absurd. That made no sense at all. If we're being realistic, that just wasn't. So no, that's not really a good example at all. It just didn't make any sense that he wasn't unbeatable, basically. So, you know, what are you going to do? Now, another thing I'd like to talk about, that pretty much covers that. I guess believe what you want. If you think it's going to be ridiculously overpowered, then time will tell, right? But until now, I'm just saying I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if anything, it might just improve their abilities a little bit. And another thing worth mentioning, actually, that is not all there is to Sanji's raid suit, right? It gives him just basically like an overall buff. Okay, it's kind of similar to a zone, actually, which I made a video recently talking about how they're kind of underrated. I'm guessing it's probably not as strong of a stat boost as a zone, especially a better one, but I would say it is a stat boost, which is just a overall positive. That can't be negative in any way, shape, or form like some devil fruits can. So, boom. I think that is pretty good. It's going to be pretty good regardless of how useful the invisibility is, and we'll just have to see more on the actual invisibility itself in the future. So, moving on to the other thing I wanted to talk about in this video. When people saw this, a lot seemed to think that this was an indicator that we're going to get a Sanji versus Shiryu towards the end of the series. And, I mean, it is weird that they're both getting invisibility at basically the same time, and the Blackbeard Pirates are going to be facing off against the Straw Hats towards the end of the series. That's basically confirmed. I mean, how could you not believe that? So, yeah, I mean, that is strange, and it seems like it's almost, of course, that has to be. But at the same time, and someone in my Discord was actually saying basically exactly this. Actually, no, I think it was Silvers. If you might know Silvers. Silvers, he just goes by Silvers now, right? Yeah, he's a One Piece YouTuber as well. But he was saying basically, like, that would be the stupidest shit Oda has ever done, seriously, if he had a battle between two people that were just invisible the whole time. Like, how would you even draw that? I could see how you would, but why would that be interesting? It would seriously be just like a complete meme. There would be no real reason to do so at all. It's like, why? It would be a total meme, and a battle of that scale, of that hype, shouldn't be treated like that at all. It's just completely pointless in my opinion, so I don't think anyone really should be a fan of that, and I don't think it's that likely, especially since up until this whole invisibility thing, everyone was dead set on the idea that Shiryu is going to be fighting Zoro, and I think that's pretty reasonable considering he's a swordsman as far as we've seen. So, I don't know. A lot of people really like this idea that Sanji's going to be going up against Shiryu, and I just am not seeing that. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe that's exactly what's going to happen, but at this point, I just think that that's really reaching, and I don't want it to happen, that's for sure. Oh man, oh Franky, you're just so biased, it's so going to happen. Okay, I don't know. People like to use the word biased in general for any time I give an opinion that they disagree with. I'm just biased, whatever that means, but yeah, I'm just not buying it. I also don't really want it to happen, so hopefully it will not. I don't think it would be very good for One Piece. I think it would just be total memeage, and I don't really want that happening in some of the biggest battles of the entire series. So I guess that's really all I have to say on that. That's really all I had to say in this video. I just kind of want to talk about Sanji and his invisibility and his raid suit and everything. I think that pretty much covered everything I wanted to say. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this video. If you enjoyed this kind of just me talking about something going on in the current events of One Piece. I enjoy making these kind of videos, so that'd be cool. If you have not already, make sure to check the description for my link to the Discord, okay? It is an awesome place. You don't really have to do anything. You don't even have to talk in voice chat or anything. There's tons of text channels. You can go in and talk about this character versus this character, who you think would win, different devil fruits versus each other, all those kind of things. It doesn't have to be related to One Piece. It can be characters from different series and whatnot. So I personally am not a fan of those kind of discussions. I think they're pointless, but a lot of people seem to love it. If that's your thing, then make sure to check the Discord. You don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to give a real email address, okay? You give them anything you want, and boom, you're in. It's awesome. Over 1,000 members now. We just hit 1,000 recently, so there's plenty of people to talk to. I have great moderators and everything, so make sure to check that out. Thank you very much for watching until the end if you've made it this far. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, a great start to your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon.